Everything that you recited was wonderful and golden, except one thing that I would like to critique. How you introduced me as someone more knowledgeable than I am. I have to contest that. All of us are knowledgeable in our respected fields, and you can learn a plethora of information from anybody. And so, thank you for those wonderful words, and may Allah bless you and bless everyone here gathered today, inshallah ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First and foremost, I would like to extend to you all my wholehearted congratulations on this auspicious occasion, the birth of God's final messenger, His greatest creation, the peak of His creation, the symbol of humanity, the Holy Prophet Mohammed sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Respected ulama, Samahat al-Shaykh, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would also like to extend my congratulations to the Holy Prophet of Islam's great-grandson, the gem from the line of the Holy Prophet, Al-Imam Al-Mahdi Al-Muntadhar, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. And lastly, I would like to extend my congratulations to all of man and womankind, to all of humanity, and to all of the world and worlds. For indeed, the Holy Prophet of Islam is described in the Quran as a rahmah for all the worlds. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And we have sent you to be a mercy to every single world, to all of man and womankind. And with that being said, I extend my congratulations to all man and womankind on this auspicious occasion, the birth of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Peace and blessings be upon him and his progeny. In a society, the 7th century Arabian Peninsula, plagued with corruption, injustice, oppression, plagued with misogyny, patriarchy, racism, one man in the year 611 of this Gregorian calendar came down from Mount An-Nur, Ghar Hara, and said, no more will this be a reality under my rule. I will not tolerate this anymore. And he faced the odds and the obstacles, but it's very difficult to change those types of mindsets. A people who for centuries would find it perfectly normal to bury the young, to abuse, oppress. Women were second-hand citizens. The non-Arab was practically non-existent, wasn't considered a human, and all of a sudden he comes and he says this will no longer be tolerated. How does a person emerge like that? And he began his mission in the 611th year as the only Muslim. Soon and later on, his beloved cousin, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, would follow through, and then his beloved wife, Sayyidah Khadija alayhi salam. By the 632nd year, a span of only roughly 23 odd years, the Arabian Peninsula was 1 million Muslims strong. And 14 centuries later, it is the fastest growing religion with roughly 2 billion adherents, all beginning with one man who made a stance in the face of all these obstacles and these difficulties. As described, they're very rough difficulties. Racism was alive back then, but it's still alive today. Oppression was alive back then, it's still alive today. I want to get rid of these negative qualities in my society. Don't look any further than Habibullah Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and apply his qualities, his traits, and we'll be able to banish them and rid the world from these disgusting, oppressive qualities. But you have to find the key to his success. And there's only one ayah of the Holy Quran that highlights exactly what that key was. The Holy Prophet's mission was very difficult. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran describes it that you're trying to guide a group of people whose forefathers were not guided. لِتُنْذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنْذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. You're trying to guide a group of people. It's very difficult to change the paradigm of a society if for the last 1,000 years they've been doing it. We know it's not easy, and that's why this mission is hard. Hence why perhaps the Holy Prophet of Islam says, مَا أُوذِيَ نَبِيٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أُوذِيتَ. There has never been a prophet more oppressed than I have. Look at the people who I'm trying to change. It's normal for them to bury infants alive. How do you change a group like that? It was not that easy, but he managed to do it. The secret to his success, as mentioned, one ayah. Which ayah of the Holy Quran? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّ مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Had you been harsh-hearted, stern with your words, they would have run away from you. What is the direct, apparent understanding of the ayah? In the study of ayat and hadith, there are two definitions that we observe. The mantuq of the ayah and the mafhum of the ayah. The mantuq, the apparent understanding. The apparent understanding is if you were harsh-hearted and rough in your language, people would have ran away. So don't be harsh-hearted and rough in your language. The mafhum is the inner meaning. Meaning, if you want to get people to come to you, then be soft-hearted. Be soft-toned. That's the deeper meaning. And that is how he managed to gravitate millions of people to his way, by being a soft-spoken individual, by smiling, by having good akhlaq, good mannerism. This attribute of being soft-hearted, brothers and sisters, is divided into three categories that I'd like to examine with you all today. Beginning with number one, the Holy Prophet's mannerism, his akhlaq, the way he had respect for other people, the way he showed respect. Number two, the Holy Prophet's non-discriminatory behavior. If you have a message to give, that risala, because he's Rasulullah, a message, it would be redundant if there are a group of people who don't understand the message. Therefore, everybody has to understand the message, meaning you do not discriminate. Everyone can receive the blessings and beauty of La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, and inshallah, Aliyan waliyullah. Allahumma salli ala. His non-discriminatory behavior. And lastly, number three, to the key as to how we establish a soft heart and to gravitate people, just like the Holy Prophet, is to be an open-minded human being. The Holy Prophet was a real human being, not a character from a fictitious story, just some random individual. No, he was a legitimate human. He smiled when necessary. He cried when necessary. He observed moments of humor when necessary. He was a human being. Combine these three qualities, brothers and sisters, then you'll have the key to the quintessential success that we all want to apply in our lives to change society. Because he managed to get rid of it at his time. Oppression, he got rid of it. He did not tolerate it. Racism, he got rid of it. He did not tolerate it. Patriarchy, rid of it. Is that still a problem today? Yes, it is. Let's take the Muhammadan way, apply that in our lives, and try our best to strive. And I'd like to share with you the three examples regarding these three wonderful concepts. Number one, the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings be upon him, he would exhibit the greatest of morals, the greatest of manners. Islam is nothing but akhlaq. Islam is akhlaq. Nothing more, nothing less. If you have everything to say which is good, but bad akhlaq, then no one's going to listen to you. Have good akhlaq. Be respectful. The example is when the Holy Prophet of Islam was sitting in Masjid Nabawi al-Sharif. And we ask Allah to take us there soon. And if not there right now, then in spirit, inshallah ta'ala. He was sitting in Masjid Nabawi alongside chiefs of tribes. And he was speaking to them, bringing to them the word of Islam. Now, it's custom and etiquette to, if you were to receive water, to drink from the water and offer it to the person sitting to your right. That's the etiquette. And so the Holy Prophet of Islam had received water. And of course, if the water you drink is water that is purified from the lips of Rasulullah, that's shifa. And so the Prophet drank from the water, and he wanted to offer it to the person to his right. But there's only one problem. To his left are chiefs of tribes. men who are tribal. These people you do not joke with. To his right is a young boy. So what does he do? Skip the kid and give it to the person to the left because it would be weird to give it to a child. But if you do that, you're then insulting the chiefs of tribes, the big aristocrats. So what does he do? This is a dilemma. He looks at the kid and observes the akhlaq of Rasulullah. And he looks at him and he says, with your permission, do you mind if I offer this elder water before you? I want your permission. Many people today wouldn't care less about receiving permission from a young boy, a young girl. Look at the akhlaq of Rasulullah. This man would race to say salam to children before the children would say salam to him. Utmost akhlaq, like you've never seen before. He has every excuse. You're just a kid. I don't care about you. I do what I want. But the Holy Prophet says, with your permission, do you mind if I give him the water first? Of course, the Rasulullah has akhlaq. Maybe the kid doesn't. The kid was like, no, give me the water. I want that blessings. Forget that guy. But you notice the mannerism of the Holy Prophet, where he receives permission from the kid first. That's number one. Number two, his non-discriminatory behavior. Everybody would receive the rahmah from Rasulullah, the mercy from Rasulullah, irrespective of religion, of tribe, of race, of gender. This is solidified in the ayah of the Holy Quran. Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum 'indallahi atqakum. O people, observe the way Allah introduces an ayah. It'll have an effect on the following sentence. If Allah says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, He's addressing whom? Muslims. Because it won't be necessarily correct to say to non-Muslims to pray, because they don't believe in Allah. So for example, you'll find, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, ista'inu bis sabri was salah. These are qualities of a Muslim. Prayer and fasting, all you who believe. Because Allah won't tell a non-Muslim, go pray, if he doesn't believe in Allah. Now, if an ayah says, Ya ayyuhal kafirun, obviously he's addressing the non-believers. But when an ayah says, Ya ayyuhan nas, who is he addressing? Everybody. What does the ayah say? Oh people, all of you listen right here. Everyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, we made you from male and female. Therefore, patriarchy, matriarchy, sexism, denied. That doesn't exist in this religion. We made you equal, male and female. Then what? Shu'uban wa qaba'il. This discussion of racism, denied now. We made you nations and tribes. To do what? So you can get to know one another. So you can know one another. But who's the best then? The Muslim? The Iraqi? The Lebanese? No. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The one who is greatest is the one that's God conscious. And I'd like to observe an observation in this discussion regarding this trait of racism. Did you know, brothers and sisters, that the first racist was shaitan? We should not exhibit an Adam's weight of racist. Otherwise, we're following the sunnah of shaitan. قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتُهُ مِن طِينٍ. He says, I'm better than Adam. You created him from mud. Created me from fire. Who says fire is greater than mud? Where did you come up with this? I'm from this, he is from that. This is called racism. So that means racism is what? Satanic. It should get rid of our hearts. Get rid of it from our hearts. Remove it. Otherwise, you're not following the sunnah of Habibullah, you're following the sunnah of shaitan. And the Quran made sure to clarify that. Rasulullah exhibited it. There was a moment in which that beloved companion, the mu'adhin of the Prophet, Bilal al-Habashi, when he called him to do the adhan, when he entered Mecca, in the 8th year after Hijrah, of Fatih Mecca, the conquest of Mecca, after he returns, he tells Bilal, go on top of the Kaaba. Let all the people see your feet are on top of the Kaaba. You, O former slave, and now you're only a slave to Allah, no longer a slave to the creation of Allah. Let your feet go on top of the Kaaba. Let everyone see you and let them be starstruck as to how you pronounce the adhan and how you serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was one example where the Holy Prophet of Islam, when he begins his mission, he sends various letters to various world leaders, inviting them to the religion of Islam. He sends a letter to Kisra, king of Persia. He sends a letter to Al-Qaisar, the Byzantine ruler. And he sends a letter to Al-Muqawqis, who modern history describes as Cyrus, patriarch of Alexandria. They all rejected Islam, except this guy, Al-Muqawqis. He didn't publicly accept it, but he was fond of the message. Really? A religion that sees black and white equal, men and women equal, a day of judgment where we will all be held accountable for our actions? I like that. But there's only one problem. The Al-Muqawqas was working under Al-Qaisar, the Caesar. So he was a step under him. He can't make a decision if the big boss hasn't approved of it. And this was in Alexandria, Egypt. So he decided to send the Holy Prophet gifts of recognition. I'm not going to say I'm becoming a Muslim, but I'll recognize your presence in the international community. So he sent the Holy Prophet gifts. He sent him multiple gifts, perfume, he sent him a lot of stuff, and one particular gift they describe as al-jubba. It was a fine, luxurious, stone, gem-embedded overrobe like you see the kings wear. He sent him that. When he received these gifts, Rasulullah, the delegation that came from Alexandria to Al-Madinah al-Munawwara to pass on these gifts from Al-Muqawqas, the Holy Prophet of Islam, there was a dilemma. Because everyone's eyes was on that long, luxurious robe. He's a man of humbleness, modesty. Is he really going to accept it? But what does the etiquette say? You have to accept gifts. If you reject it, it'll be rude. This is another dilemma. What does the Holy Prophet do? He takes it and he puts it on for a brief moment. Now imagine, the Holy Prophet already looked beautiful. Combine that with the world's most beautiful clothing. People were so starstruck of his beauty. Later on they would say, Ya Rasulullah, who was better looking, you or Prophet Yusuf? We're so confused. They entered Islam, some people, because of what he looked like. His beauty attracts people. You notice sometimes when you look at individuals, they have this nur coming from them. Like this example right here, there's a nur coming from them. And you see them, you just want to get closer to them. I'm just joking, there's only darkness here. But you see the Holy Prophet, he had this nur. Combine that with this beautiful robe. They were in awe. But what he decided to do right after will leave everyone shocked. He says, Ayna Abd? Where is Abd? Everyone is confused. This delegation from Alexandria, the thousands of people there, who is this lady the Holy Prophet's asking for? Abu Dhar al-Ghufari, the famous wise companion, says, Ya Rasulullah, I know where she is. Because Abu Dhar was a poor man, and the poor know the other poor. He goes and he returns with this old, withered, frail woman from Ethiopia. She doesn't even speak Arabic. And she's walking and she has hard time seeing as well. She's almost blind as well. And Rasulullah takes off this luxurious robe and puts it on her. And he says, Sanah Abd, Sanah. Sanah is not Arabic, it's Ethiopian. He spoke in her native tongue. And she was so shocked. I imagine she was more shocked that he spoke her language than the fact that he gave her this gift. The delegation from Alexandria was in awe, and their bones were chilling. How could he do something like this? To which they said, Wallah, ma hadha bi'af'alil muluk. By God, this is not the behavior of kings, but rather a prophet of Allah. Because if he was a king, he would have just gifted that robe to another king to establish relations. But he gives it to his weakest companion. And they say at that moment, some of them, they announced their Islam and they became Muslims because of his akhlaq and his non-discriminatory behavior. That's the second key. The third key to success as to how Rasulullah gravitated people, brothers and sisters, is his openness. He was a well-rounded human being. He would smile and laugh. He would be there. He would show you his presence. And he would exhibit moments of humor when necessary. Because today the mainstream understanding of Islam is a very austere one. It's a very strict and stern one when you think Muslim. That's not how Rasulullah was. He would smile. And I remember yesterday we did this nice activity where we said, since Rasulullah amongst his sunnah was to smile. And so we said, look at your fellow mu'min and mu'minah and smile at one another. It's the sunnah of the Holy Prophet. Not only do you get hasanat, you also, what? Apply the sunnah of the Holy Prophet of Islam. You would always be seen smiling. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And a wonderful example to this, brothers and sisters, is one day, a lady came to the Prophet to inquire some questions. She says, Ya Rasulullah, I have a few questions. Please help me address them. The Prophet looks at her and says, are you so-and-so's wife? She says, yeah. You mean the man who has whiteness in his eyes? She says, whiteness in his eyes? I never knew my husband has white in his eyes. She says, yeah, your husband's that guy who has white in his eyes. She says, if you say so. She returns home after Rasulullah addresses her concerns, and she begins staring in her husband's eyes. He's like, what are you doing? He says, Rasulullah said you have whiteness in your eyes. He's like, oh no, Rasulullah was joking. Every person has white in their eyes. She thought he was sick or something. But this is an example as to how Rasulullah in times when it was necessary, it exhibits moments of humor. A well-rounded, wholesome human being. Ibn Shahrashub in Manaqib al-Abi Talib mentions a very wonderful story where Imam Ali alayhi salam and Rasulullah were sitting together enjoying each other's company. And Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen were eating dates. And so when Amir al-Mu'mineen would take his dates, he would put the pit of the seed on his plate. Rasulullah, however, would take the seed that he would finish with and put it on the plate of Imam Ali. So by the time they finished eating, Rasulullah's plate had no seeds on it, and Imam Ali's plate was really filled with seeds. So Rasulullah joked around, he says, Ya Abul Hassan, you must have been very hungry. Look at all the seeds, the dates you ate. To which Imam Ali responds, yes, Rasulullah, but there was someone more hungrier than I was who ate the date with its seed. He points out Rasulullah's plate. But this shows a moment in which Rasulullah is a human being. And every moment you should recognize that he's not just some robot automatically made to help guide us. No, he's an insan, just like all of you, but chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help guide us. In these days, brothers and sisters, I'd like to pause at an observation. Many people ask that the Mawlid of Rasulullah and Imam al-Sadiq, alayhum as-salam, this is not something that has been practiced by the Holy Prophet of Islam. And some go to the extreme where they call it an innovation, a bid'ah. And you know where this goes. كُلُّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ وَكُلُّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. Slow down. So hold on. This is Rasulullah's birthday we want to celebrate, not just some random person. Secondly, if anybody tells you that celebrating the birth of the Prophet, or any birth for that matter, is an innovation, there's a really interesting ayah of the Holy Quran I'd like for you to all reply back with. Because this ayah, no one can deny the ayah of the Quran as authentic, and this will really seal the deal. Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 114. Jesus alayhi salam is speaking to his disciples, and he responds back to them after they say, O Isa, O Ruh Allah, tell your Lord to bring down a table spread with food. Isa says to them, you don't believe Allah can? They say, no, we want to have itmi'nan. You see this happening before with Prophet Ibrahim. He asks Allah, Ya Allah, Allahumma arini kayfa tuhyi al-mawta. Allah responds, Qala awalam tu'min? Qala bala walakin liyatma'inna qalbi. He says, I do believe, but I want to have tranquility in my heart. And this is the same pattern we see with Prophet Jesus and his disciples. We do believe, we just want itmi'nan, tranquility in the heart. And so to which Prophet Isa raises his hands to the heavens and says, قال اللهم ربنا قال عيسى ابن مريم اللهم ربنا أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا وآية منك وارزقنا وأنت خير الرازقين. O Allah, our nourisher, bring down for us a table spread to be what? تكون لنا what? Answer me, what? عيدا, to be an Eid. I have a question. If a table spread from heaven is considered Eid, then the birth of the Prophet is definitely considered a celebration. If the Ma'idah is just table with food, but what kind of Eid? لِأَوَّلِنَا وَآخِرِنَا, for the first of us and the last of us, and what? وَآيَةً مِنْكَ, and it's a sign from you, Ya Allah. وَارْزُقْنَا وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. If a table spread is Eid celebration, the birth of Habibullah Rasulullah is not an Eid, how can that be possible? Whoever says we do not celebrate the birth of the Prophet, reply back with this ayah of the Holy Quran. Indeed, we celebrate not out of spite because you dislike, but rather we celebrate because Allah taught us that in times of happiness, be happy, and in times of sadness, be sad when necessary. Brothers and sisters, keep this in mind. Keep these three quintessential points in mind, and you will have that effect like Rasulullah has. Whenever you find racism being rampant in a society, be a Muhammad. Whenever you find oppression rampant in a society, be a Muhammad. And whenever you find injustice rampant in a society, be a Muhammad, and you will indeed be influential. And in the words of the famous historian, Christian historian Michael Hart, indeed the most influential man in history was none other than this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. My dear respected brothers and sisters, please extend to your fellow brother and sister on these few days as we celebrate the birth of the Holy Prophet and the sixth Imam of Ahlul Bayt, Al-Imam As-Sadiq, alayhum as-salam jami'an, together extend to one another congratulations, be happy, smile. These are the days in which we apply the teachings of the Prophet, and not only that, spreading his message. Indeed, you spread the message through your actions. Al-Imam As-Sadiq, who we tonight recognize and celebrate his birth, clearly, beautifully said that be a source for us. Kunu du'atan lana bighayri alsinatikum. Invite people to us, not using your tongue necessarily, use your akhlaq. The mannerism of Rasulullah will bring people to Islam, Ahlul Bayt. Being someone who's non-discriminatory like Rasulullah will bring people to Islam, Ahlul Bayt. And indeed, being a whole, rounded human being will bring everybody to Islam, Ahlul Bayt. Keep these three quintessential elements in mind, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.